It was a quiet night in the desert town of Ravens Hollow. The sky was dark and empty except for one bright star that seemed to move. Eli Carter, a young mechanic with oil-stained hands and tired eyes, stood outside his small workshop, wiping sweat from his face. The desert air was still and the sound of crickets echoed through the night. Then the star moved faster, too fast. It grew brighter, burning white, then blue. The ground trembled and Eli stepped back, shielding his eyes. The light exploded across the desert like lightning. A sound like thunder followed, but it wasn't thunder. It was something heavy crashing into the earth. Eli's heart raced. He grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the glow beyond the dunes. His boots kicked up dust as he climbed a small ridge. From the top, he saw smoke rising in the distance, blue smoke, strange and shimmering. Maybe a plane, he whispered. But deep inside, he knew it wasn't. As he got closer, the smell hit him. Metal and ozone like burnt wires. His flashlight beam caught something shiny half buried in the sand. It wasn't a rock. It was smooth, curved, and silver, with faint blue lights pulsing along its edge. A crash site, but not from Earth. Eli's hands shook as he touched the surface. It was warm. The metal seemed to hum under his fingers, almost like it was alive. Then a faint whisper came from inside. It wasn't English. It wasn't any language he knew. He stepped back, his heart pounding. "Hello?" he said, his voice trembling. The surface rippled like water and a line of light appeared, tracing a doorway. Slowly it opened with a hiss. Eli froze. From the doorway a figure stepped out. Tall. Thin. Armored in silver with blue lines running along her body like veins. Her face was smooth and pale with glowing blue eyes that studied him carefully. For a long moment neither of them moved. The desert wind whispered between them. Then the being spoke. Her voice was calm but strange with a rhythm that wasn't human. "You are human," Eli nodded slowly. "Yeah, I'm human." What are you?" The alien tilted her head, scanning him from head to toe. Her gaze lingered on his face. "So plain," she murmured almost to herself. "Yes, perfect," Eli frowned. "Perfect? For what?" She didn't answer. Instead, she raised her hand and a soft blue light floated above her palm. It grew brighter, surrounding Eli in a shimmering glow. His flashlight flickered and died. "What are you doing?" he shouted, backing away. But his feet felt heavy. The light pulled at him like invisible hands. "You are needed," she said simply. "For my sister." Eli tried to run, but his body wouldn't move. The light wrapped around him, warm at first, then burning cold. "Stop, I don't understand." The alien's eyes glowed brighter. "You will." The world went white. When Eli opened his eyes, he was lying on a smooth metal floor. The air felt heavy and clean, almost too clean. He tried to sit up, but his body felt weak. He was in a room with no doors. The walls curved like the inside of a bubble, glowing softly. He heard soft footsteps. Turning his head, he saw the same alien standing near a wall, her armor shining under the light. But she wasn't alone. Beside her stood another figure, smaller, wearing a flowing white robe. The second being had the same glowing blue eyes, but gentler, softer. Her face was calm, almost kind. "She wakes soon," the armored one said. The other nodded. "And this is the human?" "Yes, plain, perfect for you." Eli's chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Where am I?" The taller alien looked at him. "You are safe, human. For now. I didn't ask to be here," he snapped. "Take me back." The smaller one stepped closer, her eyes studying him with strange sadness. "He doesn't understand, Sarah," she said softly. "No," the taller one replied. "He will." Suddenly, a panel in the wall shifted, revealing a large glass window. On the other side, Eli saw something impossible. An entire world beneath the earth. Huge metal structures glowed with blue light. Rivers of energy flowed through the tunnels. Strange creatures walked across bridges that hung in the air. Eli pressed his hand to the glass, his breath fogging it. What is this place?" Sarah answered with a calm, cold tone. "Our home. The world beneath your world." Eli stared at her, his heart pounding. "Why bring me here?" The smaller alien finally spoke, her voice soft like wind through a cave. "Because human. You may be the only one who can save us." Before Eli could reply, the floor began to vibrate. The lights flickered. Somewhere deep below, a low rumble echoed like a giant heartbeat. Sarah turned sharply toward the sound. "Too soon," she whispered. "She is waking." Eli looked around in fear. Who's waking? The smaller one looked at him, her blue eyes glowing brighter. My sister, she said. And she's been waiting for you. Eli couldn't tell if he was dreaming or awake. The walls around him pulsed softly like a heartbeat, glowing with dim blue light. The air was warm, humming with quiet power. Everything looked alive, like the whole place was breathing. He sat up slowly. The taller alien, Sarah, stood by the wall, her silver armor shining faintly. The smaller one, the gentle one, was gone. Where is she? Eli asked. The other one. The one who talked to me. Sarah turned, her eyes glowing faintly. She is resting. Her name is Luna. Eli rubbed his head. You said I was brought here for her. Why me? Sarah's gaze was sharp and cold. Because you are ordinary, plain. But sometimes plain things carry the greatest balance. My sister was born in darkness. She has never seen the sun, never breathed the surface air. Her body is breaking. Her soul is fading. And you, she stepped closer, her eyes narrowing. You may be the cure, Eli frowned. Cure? I'm a mechanic. I fix machines, not people. You are more than you think, Sarah said softly. Human blood carries something powerful, something pure. Our kind lost it long ago. Before Eli could ask more, the floor began to move. A circle of light appeared beneath his feet, and the platform lowered gently, taking him down through glowing tunnels. Sarah stood beside him, silent, watching the walls slide by. Through the glass around them, Eli saw an unbelievable world spread beneath the earth. Vast metal towers reaching upward like iron trees, glowing rivers of blue energy, and thousands of beings walking along bridges suspended in the air. What is this place? Eli whispered. Our home, Sarah said. We call it Threxia, the city beneath the bones of the earth. We were born after the great burning when the sun destroyed the surface. Our ancestors built this refuge below the ground. We have lived here ever since. Eli pressed his hand to the glass. So you've been hiding down here for centuries? Yes, Sarah said. And now the walls are failing. The energy core is dying. Without Luna, we will fall into darkness forever. Eli turned to her. What does that have to do with me? She didn't answer. Instead, the platform stopped before a huge round door. It opened with a soft hiss. Inside was a chamber filled with glowing plants, their roots floating in midair. The air smelled fresh and strange. At the center of the room was a large crystal pod. Inside it, Eli saw Luna, the same soft-eyed alien from before. She was asleep, surrounded by light. Her skin glowed faintly gold instead of blue. She's beautiful, Eli whispered. Sarah's voice hardened. Do not be fooled by beauty, human. My sister's power can destroy this city if uncontrolled. That is why she must stay asleep until we find balance. That is why you are here. Eli turned to her. What balance? What do you mean? Sarah stared into the pod. Her heart beats too fast. Her energy burns too bright. When she feels emotion, fear, joy, sadness, the entire city trembles. We need something pure to calm her. Something from the old surface. Human blood carries that calm, that plainness. Eli shook his head. You brought me here like a tool. I'm not medicine. Sarah looked at him, her expression unreadable. No, you are life. The last piece of a world we lost. Before Eli could argue, Luna's eyes flickered open. The light around her shifted from gold to white. The pod opened with a low hum and she stepped out, barefoot, fragile, yet glowing with strange strength. When she looked at Eli, something changed in the air. The walls brightened, and the plants around them began to move, swaying like they could feel her emotions. You came, Luna whispered, her voice soft like wind. Eli swallowed hard. I didn't have much of a choice, she smiled faintly. No one ever has a choice when the stars call them. Sarah moved closer to her sister. You must rest, Luna, your power is unstable. Luna's eyes didn't leave Eli's. He is the one, Sarah, I can feel it. His presence, it quiets the noise. Eli took a slow step back. Quiet what noise? The voices, Luna said softly. The city speaks. It breathes through me. Every heartbeat of Threxia echoes in my mind. It's too loud. But when you're near, it goes silent. Sarah clenched her jaw. That is exactly why you cannot be near him too long. But Luna reached out her hand. Please, don't send him away. Just a moment longer. Eli hesitated, then gently touched her hand. It was warm, almost human. The blue glow in the room softened to white. For the first time, silence filled the air. Sarah stepped back, eyes wide. Impossible. Eli looked around. What just happened? Luna smiled, a tear shining in her glowing eyes. You've quieted the city, Eli. You've done what none of us could. The silence was peaceful, until the ground rumbled again. The lights flickered. From far below, a deep roar echoed through the tunnels. Sarah's face turned pale. No, something has awakened. Eli grabbed Luna's hand. What was that? Sarah looked toward the ceiling. The guardian of the core, it senses the change. It knows the balance has shifted. Luna's voice trembled. It's coming for me. Eli's heart raced. Then we'd better move. Eli didn't remember falling asleep, but when he woke, soft blue light filled the room. The air smelled of metal and something sweet like new rain on stone. His body felt heavy, but his mind raced with memories. Luna's soft voice, Sarah's cold eyes, and the deep roar from below. He sat up on a narrow bed, surrounded by strange machines. Clear tubes ran along the walls, carrying glowing silver liquid. Inside one corner, something moved. A machine with a dozen eyes watching him, clicking softly like it was thinking. The door slid open with a hiss. Sarah walked in, holding a glowing orb. You're awake, she said flatly. Eli rubbed his eyes. Where's Luna? She's safe, Sarah replied. But her condition is changing. Because of you, Eli frowned. Changing how? She grows stronger. But the city grows weaker. The balance is shifting too fast. Sarah placed the orb on a table. It projected Luna's image, her heartbeat glowing like waves of light. You are the cause. Your presence stirs something inside her we don't understand. I didn't do anything, Eli said quietly. Sarah's eyes narrowed. You touched her. He hesitated. Yes, she sighed, like a teacher scolding a careless student. Emotional contact changes energy flow. We thought humans were plain emotionless compared to us, but your emotions, they affect her like fire. Eli stood up. So what now? You keep me locked up? No, Sarah said. You will help us. We need to understand your effect on her. We must test it. Eli didn't like the word test. You mean experiment on me? Sarah's face softened for a brief moment. Call it what you wish. But without data, Luna will die, and so will Threxia. He looked down at the floor, then finally nodded. Fine, but if she's hurt, I stop. The chamber they brought him to looked like something from a dream. Smooth white walls, glowing floor, and floating screens filled with strange symbols. Luna stood in the center, wearing a light suit that shimmered like starlight. Her eyes brightened when she saw him. You came, she whispered. Eli smiled slightly. Didn't have much choice. Sarah stood beside a console, watching. Begin when ready. Luna raised her hand. The lights dimmed. A low hum filled the air. Eli felt warmth in his chest, like his heartbeat matched hers. Then something amazing happened. The walls around them turned transparent, revealing moving energy all around the city. Streams of blue and white light twisting like rivers. Eli could feel it pulsing through his body. What is this? He breathed. The soul of Threxia, Luna said softly. It connects every living thing here. I can hear its song. Eli looked around, amazed. It's beautiful, but Luna's expression changed. Her smile faded and pain flashed across her face. It's too much, she whispered. The voices, they're fighting me. Sarah rushed forward. Disconnect now. But Luna shook her head. No, I can control it. If Eli stays close. Eli hesitated only a second, then stepped forward and held her hand. The instant their fingers touched, the lights around them calmed. The energy flow slowed. The walls stopped shaking. The humming turned soft, peaceful. Sarah's mouth fell open. It worked. Eli turned to her. See? You don't need machines. You just needed someone to care. Sarah didn't answer. Her expression was unreadable, but Luna smiled. I can feel it now, the sun. Through you, Eli blinked. The sun? She nodded slowly. It's strange. Warm and bright. You carry it inside you. For a moment, everything felt calm. The hum of the machines faded. Luna's glow softened to gold. Then alarms blared. The floor shook violently. Sarah ran to the console. Energy spike? She's absorbing too much. Eli held Luna's shoulders. Luna, stop. You're burning yourself. She tried to speak, but her body shimmered with wild light. Her eyes glowed gold and the walls began to crack. Sarah shouted over the noise. Get away from her. But Eli didn't move. He held Luna tighter, whispering, "You can control it. Just breathe." Luna closed her eyes. The light flickered, then dimmed. The alarm stopped. Silence. Eli looked at her. "You okay?" She opened her eyes slowly, smiling weakly. "I saw something, a memory." "Not mine, yours," he blinked. "Mine?" "Yes," she said softly. "A field of green. The sound of wind. A blue sky. You remember the world above." Eli's throat tightened. "Yeah, that was home." Luna touched his chest gently. "Then that's what keeps me calm. Your memories. Your world." Sarah walked over, her expression serious. "Enough for today. The experiment is complete." Eli turned sharply. "You call that an experiment?" "She almost died." Sarah met his glare coldly. "She lived. And now we know your connection is stronger than we imagined. You may be the key to saving her or destroying us all." Luna took a weak breath. "He won't destroy us, Sarah. He's different." Sarah's eyes darkened. "Different doesn't mean safe." Before Eli could respond, the floor beneath them rumbled again, louder this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. A deep growl echoed through the walls, shaking the chamber. Luna's eyes widened in fear. "It's the Guardian. It knows." Sarah looked at her instruments. "It's moving toward the core." Eli frowned. "What's the Guardian?" Sarah turned to him, her face pale. "It's what protects the power of Threxia. If it senses a threat to balance, it destroys it." Luna gripped Eli's arm. "And now it thinks the threat is you." The alarms kept echoing through the tunnels long after the tremors stopped. The air smelled of metal and fear. Red lights flashed on the curved walls, casting ghostly shadows. Eli stood between Sarah and Luna, still trying to understand what had happened. The words, "It thinks the threat is you," repeated in his mind like a drumbeat. Eli clenched his fists. "You're saying that monster, the Guardian, wants me dead just because I helped Luna?" Sarah turned away, pressing glowing symbols on a panel. "It doesn't think, it reacts. The Guardian was built to protect the city's energy core. Anything that changes the balance becomes its enemy." Luna's voice trembled. "But Eli didn't hurt me. He saved me." Sarah's eyes flashed cold blue light. "And that is the problem. Your bond is too strong. It's rewriting what our people thought was possible." Eli frowned. "So what, you're saying my blood is magic now?" Sarah stopped typing and turned to face him. "No, not magic, human." Eli blinked. "I don't understand." Sarah walked closer, her steps echoing softly. "Our scientists studied you since you arrived. The results are clear. You are different, simpler, cleaner. Your DNA holds no corruption. You are the version we lost long ago." Luna tilted her head. "Lost? What do you mean, Sarah?" Sarah hesitated, her voice lowering. "It's time you both knew the truth." She touched the wall. A hologram burst to life, an image of Earth long ago, green and full of oceans. Then flames spread across the surface, swallowing cities and forests. "Our ancestors were once human," Sarah said. "They lived on the surface as you did, Eli. But the sun began to die. Solar storms destroyed everything. The richest and strongest fled underground to survive. Over centuries we changed. Our bodies adapted to the dark. We became the Threxians, creatures of shadow and light." Eli stared at the hologram, his heart heavy. "So you're saying you're human descendants?" Sarah nodded slowly. "Not fully human anymore. We traded emotion for logic, sunlight for stability. It kept us alive, but it cost us our humanity. We became something else, efficient, cold." Luna looked down at her glowing hands. "That's why I feel different. Why the city speaks to me." "I'm part of both," Sarah nodded. "You are the last of the pure Threxians, Luna. But your body is unstable. It craves what we lost." Eli took a slow step forward. "And that's why you brought me here. My blood has what you lost." Sarah didn't answer, but her silence was enough. Luna's eyes shimmered with tears that glowed faintly. "All this time you called me perfect. But I'm breaking, aren't I?" Sarah's voice softened for the first time, sounding almost human. "You are not broken, sister. You are a bridge, and Eli, he completes that bridge." Eli frowned. "What happens if I refuse to help? What if I just want to go home?" Sarah looked at him sadly. "There is no home left above, human. The surface is ash and storm. Only ruins remain." The words hit him like a stone. He remembered the wind, the blue sky, the smell of gasoline and dirt. And now it was all gone. Luna stepped closer and gently touched his hand. "You still carry it, Eli. The memory of the surface. That's why you're different. That's why I can feel sunlight when you're near. Her voice was calm but trembling. You bring life back into me. Sarah turned away, speaking softly. If the Guardian reaches the core, it will destroy everything. Our world will collapse. The only way to stop it is through Luna. She must merge her energy with the core to stabilize it. Eli looked at her sharply. You mean she has to die for this city? Sarah didn't answer. Luna's eyes widened in fear. Sarah, no. Sarah turned back to her sister, eyes shining with sorrow. You were born to save us. It is your purpose. Eli stepped between them. No, there has to be another way. Sarah's voice grew cold again. There isn't. The Guardian will sense her instability soon. If she doesn't merge willingly, it will tear the city apart. Luna shook her head. I don't want to die, not now. Not after meeting him. Her hand slipped into Eli's. His heart raced, and suddenly the lights around them flickered, blue turning to gold. The walls shimmered like sunlight reflecting off water. Sarah stepped back, shielding her eyes. What is happening? Luna's glow grew brighter. It's not death, she whispered. It's change. The ground trembled again, but this time it wasn't the Guardian. It was the city itself reacting to Luna's new power. Eli held her hand tighter. Luna, stop. You'll hurt yourself. She smiled softly, glowing brighter with every heartbeat. No, Eli, I'm remembering the sun. The warmth, the color. I can see your world, Sarah shouted over the rising hum. Luna, stop before it's too late. But Luna only looked at her sister, tears glowing like stars. Tell them not to fear the light. A wave of golden energy burst from her body, sweeping through the chamber. The machines exploded into sparks. The alarms went silent. Everything was bathed in light. When the brightness faded, Eli opened his eyes to find Luna collapsed in his arms, her skin pale, her glow gone. Sarah knelt beside them, whispering, She's still alive. But the balance has changed again. Eli looked down at Luna, his voice breaking. What did she do? Sarah's eyes filled with awe and fear. She connected herself to you. And now, the Guardian will come for both of you. The silence after the light faded was heavy, like the whole world was holding its breath. Dust floated through the air, glowing faintly in the dying blue light. Machines sparked and hissed. The walls that once pulsed with life were now cracked and dark. Eli knelt on the floor, cradling Luna in his arms. Her skin, once glowing gold, was now pale like moonlight. She breathed slowly, weak but alive. Luna, he whispered, brushing her hair back. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Sarah stood nearby, staring at the shattered energy panels. Her armor flickered with dim light. She has connected to you completely. Her life force is tied to yours now. You can't be apart for long. Eli looked up sharply. Then we stay together. Sarah shook her head. You don't understand. That bond will pull the Guardian straight to you. It hunts energy imbalances. It will see both of you as one unstable being. As if answering her words, a low roar rumbled through the metal ground. The walls quaked and a wave of dust fell from above. Somewhere deep below, something massive was moving. Luna stirred in Eli's arms, her voice a weak whisper. It's coming. I can feel it. Eli stood, helping her to her feet. Then we move, now. Sarah opened a glowing panel on her wrist. A map appeared, filled with shifting tunnels and glowing veins of energy. The upper route to the surface gate is still open. But if the Guardian breaches the lower chambers, it'll collapse everything behind us. Eli nodded. Then we don't stop. Sarah's cold eyes softened slightly. You care for her. Eli glanced at Luna. She saved me first. Sarah said nothing more. She pressed a button on the wall and a hidden door slid open. A long tunnel stretched ahead, lit only by flickering blue lights. The trio ran through the tunnels. The air grew hotter, thicker, filled with the sound of rumbling machines and distant screams of bending metal. Behind them, the ground split open. Bright red light poured from deep cracks like veins of fire. Eli's lungs burned as he ran, supporting Luna's frail body. How far? He gasped. Half a mile, Sarah said. The gate chamber connects to the old lift system. If we reach it before the Guardian does, we might make it. Might? Eli snapped. Sarah looked back at the shaking ground. It's the best chance we have. The sound of the Guardian grew louder, like thunder mixed with grinding stone. The tunnel behind them began to collapse, sending waves of dust and sparks. A section of the ceiling gave way. Sarah turned, raising her arm. A shimmering energy shield spread from her armor, blocking falling debris. The light flickered wildly and she gritted her teeth. "Go!" she shouted. "I'll hold it." Eli hesitated. "I'm not leaving you," she cut him off. "You'll die if you stay. Move." Eli grabbed Luna's hand and pulled her forward. The tunnel twisted into a large cavern glowing with faint gold light. In the center stood a massive circular door, engraved with symbols older than language. Luna's eyes widened. The gate. Sarah stumbled in behind them, armor cracked and smoking. The last door to the surface. But it's locked by old codes, only the core crystal can open it. Eli frowned. "What crystal?" Sarah reached into a compartment in her armor and pulled out a small glowing shard. "I stole it from the Threxian Council long ago. It's part of the surface key. Only human energy can activate it." She pressed it into Eli's hand. The crystal pulsed warmly, then glowed brighter. Luna smiled weakly. "It recognizes you." Eli looked at the massive gate, then back at Sarah. "What do I do?" "Focus on what you remember from the surface," Sarah said softly. "The sun, the wind, the light. Feed it with your memories." Eli closed his eyes. He thought of home, of blue skies, green fields, and the smell of warm rain. The memory burned inside him, spreading warmth through his chest. The crystal blazed bright white, sending beams of light into the symbols on the gate. The door began to move, grinding slowly open. A gust of cold air rushed through, carrying the scent of freedom and dust. Then the ground exploded. A colossal arm of metal and fire smashed through the wall behind them. The Guardian emerged, towering, covered in molten armor, its single red eye burning like a sun. Sarah shouted, "Get through the gate!" The Guardian roared, swinging its arm down. Sarah ran toward it, summoning a glowing blade of blue energy. She struck at the arm, sparks flying. Eli turned back. "Sarah, come on!" She smiled faintly, shaking her head. "Go, human. Protect her." The Guardian's roar drowned everything as Sarah charged, her sword slicing into its glowing core. A flash of light filled the cavern. Eli grabbed Luna and pulled her through the gate as the world behind them collapsed. They fell to their knees on rough stone. The air was cold. Above them stretched a sky, dark red filled with swirling dust clouds and faint stars. Luna looked around, tears in her glowing eyes. The surface. It's real. Eli looked up too. The sky was broken, but it was still a sky. "Yeah," he whispered. "Welcome home." Behind them, the gate sealed shut with a thunderous echo. Luna leaned against him, her head on his shoulder. "Sarah?" Eli stared at the sealed door, his heart heavy. "She saved us." The wind howled across the ruined land. For the first time in centuries, two worlds had touched again. One from the light, one from the dark. But deep below, the Guardian's red eye flickered back to life. The world above was not what Eli remembered. The sky, once blue, was now painted in shades of red and gray. Clouds moved like smoke, heavy and slow. The ground was dry and cracked, covered with ash instead of soil. Ruins of old cities lay broken across the horizon. Twisted metal towers, glass bones of forgotten buildings, and silent streets buried under dust. Eli stood quietly, breathing in the thin air. It was sharp, cold, but real. For the first time since being taken, he felt the wind against his skin. It carried a faint scent, burnt earth mixed with memory. Luna stood beside him, barefoot, her silver hair glowing faintly against the red sky. She looked around in awe, her blue eyes wide. "So this is the surface?" Eli nodded slowly. "What's left of it?" She took a deep breath, shivering. "The air hurts my lungs, but it feels alive." Eli smiled faintly. "That's how I felt when I was a kid, like every breath meant something." Luna stepped forward and knelt to touch the cracked ground. As her hand brushed the earth, a small spark of gold light appeared beneath her fingers. The dead soil trembled, and a tiny green sprout pushed through the dust. Eli's eyes widened. "Did you?" Luna stared at the sprout, her voice trembling. "It's me, my energy. It's changing." Before they could say more, thunder rumbled far off. But it wasn't thunder, it was a deep mechanical growl. Eli turned sharply toward the horizon. "No." A faint red glow pulsed in the distance, growing brighter each second. The ground trembled. Luna's face turned pale. "The Guardian. It followed us." Eli grabbed her hand. "We keep moving." Sarah said the city had old research bases on the surface. Maybe one still has shelter. They began walking, climbing over broken streets and collapsed bridges. The air grew colder the farther they went. Strange shadows moved in the distance, old drones still floating on ancient power, scanning the ruins for life. Luna stumbled once, weak from the climb. Eli caught her. "You okay?" She nodded faintly. "The light inside me. It's growing too fast. It's trying to find balance." Eli tightened his grip on her hand. "Then we'll help it together." They reached the top of a cracked hill. Below it stood the remains of a white dome, half buried but still intact. Faded letters above the entrance read, "Solaris Research Facility." Eli smiled. "That's our place." They climbed down and entered through a gap in the metal. The inside was cold and dark, but the walls still hummed faintly with energy. Luna touched a control panel. It flickered to life under her hand, recognizing her hybrid signal. Lights blinked on, revealing a long chamber filled with rusted machines and broken screens. Eli walked around, wiping dust from an old console. This must have been where scientists worked before the storms. Maybe there's still data here. Luna moved closer, studying the screens. "These were your people's last moments." Eli nodded. "Yeah, they tried to stop the sun from killing the planet, but it was too late." Her voice softened. "Maybe it's not too late now." Eli looked at her. "What do you mean?" She held up her hand and a faint glow spread from her palm. The same power that kept Threxia alive can heal the surface. The two energies, human and Threxian, can bring life again, but I don't know how long I can control it. Before he could answer, the ground shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. The roar came again, much closer this time. Eli ran to the doorway. Far in the distance, the Guardian rose over the horizon like a mountain of fire and metal. Its single red eye blazed like a sun. "It's here," he said. Luna walked beside him, her expression calm now. "It followed my energy. It wants to stop change. But this time I won't hide." Eli grabbed her arm. "You can't fight that thing." "It'll kill you!" She smiled gently. "Not if I become something it can't destroy." Luna stepped outside, standing under the red sky. The wind blew through her hair as she closed her eyes. Her body began to glow gold again, brighter than ever before. Eli watched helplessly. "Luna, wait!" She turned to him, smiling. "You gave me the memory of sunlight, Eli. Now I'll give it back to the world." The Guardian roared, its massive arm crashing into the earth, sending waves of dust into the air. But Luna didn't move. She raised her hands toward the sky, and beams of gold light burst upward, piercing through the storm clouds. The red sky began to shift, slowly, painfully, toward orange. The clouds split apart, revealing a faint blue hue hidden beneath centuries of ash. The Guardian screamed, its armor cracking under the light. Pieces of molten metal fell away as the golden rays struck its core. Eli ran toward Luna, shouting over the roaring wind. "You'll burn yourself out." She turned, her voice soft but clear. "Then let me burn bright." The Guardian's body exploded in a blinding flash. Light washed over the land. The storm winds howled, and then silence. When the light faded, Eli was on his knees, his vision blurry. The sky above was no longer red. It was pale gold with soft streaks of blue breaking through the clouds. The first rays of true sunlight in centuries touched the ground. Eli looked around. Luna? She was standing a few feet away, surrounded by gentle light. But her glow was fading, her body turning transparent like mist. He reached out desperately. "Luna, no, don't go." She smiled, tears of light in her eyes. "I'm not gone, Eli. I'm everywhere now." And with that, she dissolved into the air, her light spreading across the land like dawn. Eli stared at the rising sun, his heart breaking and healing at the same time. For the first time since the world burned, light touched the earth again. He whispered to the wind, "You did it, Luna." And the wind seemed to answer softly, "You're not plain human. You're perfect." The world was quiet. For the first time in centuries, silence carried peace instead of fear. The red storms were gone. The air, though dry and thin, was no longer poisoned. The sky shimmered in soft gold light, and the cold land began to breathe again. Eli stood at the edge of a cracked valley, his clothes torn, his hands dusty. The wind brushed against him gently, warm with the touch of sunlight. Every time it passed, it whispered like a voice, soft, kind, and familiar. "Luna." He closed his eyes, feeling the warmth on his face. It was her light. It had not vanished when she did. It had spread, into the wind, into the soil, into the sky. The ruins around him no longer looked dead. Small sprouts pushed through the cracks. The ashes that once covered everything were turning into fertile dust. Eli smiled weakly. "You did it, Luna," he whispered. "You gave the world back its heart." He walked slowly through the valley, past broken machines and the rusted bones of human cities. The air was alive now. He could hear faint sounds, water dripping somewhere, the buzz of a tiny insect, the soft hum of growing life. It was strange to be the only one left. The last human. The thought should have made him feel lonely, but instead it filled him with quiet purpose. Luna's gift wasn't only for the Threxians or for her people below, it was for him, for everyone who once called Earth home. As he walked, he found a shattered tower leaning against a hill. Its top was missing, but its walls still stood strong enough to climb. He made his way up slowly, one step at a time. When he reached the top, the view stole his breath. The horizon stretched endlessly. The clouds were breaking apart, letting golden light flood the ruins. Rivers of melted ice glimmered like silver lines through the land. And in the distance, faint green shimmered, plants waking from a long sleep. Eli laughed softly, a sound that echoed against the silent wind. "You'd like this, Luna," he said. "You'd say it looks like hope." A soft gust brushed against his face, warm and tender, almost like a hand. He smiled. "Yeah, I hear you." Days passed. Eli built a small shelter among the ruins of the research dome. He gathered food from storage units and clean water from cracked pipes that still worked. He repaired solar panels, old machines, anything that could help him survive. At night, he sat by a small fire staring at the stars. The constellations were different now, blurred by centuries of dust and movement, but they still shone. And sometimes when the wind blew through the ruins, he heard her voice again. Eli. It wasn't loud. It wasn't even clear. But it was enough. Each time he would answer softly, "I'm still here." And somewhere in the air, faint lights would flicker like golden dust. One morning, while exploring the edge of the valley, Eli discovered something unexpected. Buried beneath the sand was a large metal door, its surface engraved with strange symbols. He brushed away the dust and recognized the pattern. It was Threxian, the gate, he whispered. "It's still here," he placed his hand on it. The metal was warm, not dead. Faint golden veins of light glowed beneath his fingers. A soft hum echoed from below. Eli stepped back as the symbols began to move, rearranging themselves. Then a low voice spoke, not mechanical but alive. Human signature detected. Balance restored. Access granted. The door slowly opened, revealing a long stairway leading into the darkness below. Eli's heart pounded. Threxia. He descended carefully. The air was cooler inside, filled with faint blue light. When he reached the bottom, he found what remained of the underground city. Much of it was broken, collapsed tunnels, fallen towers, but some lights still flickered faintly. And in the center, a single pillar stood tall, glowing gold instead of blue. He walked toward it. The light grew warmer, wrapping around him like a memory. Then as he touched the pillar, a voice filled his mind. Soft, loving, unmistakable. "You came back." Eli smiled, eyes wet with tears. "I had to. You saved the world, Luna, but you didn't save yourself." "I didn't need to," she whispered. "I am the world now. Every leaf that grows, every breeze that touches your face, that's me." Eli's throat tightened. "It's not the same without you." For a moment, silence. Then gentle laughter echoed around him. "Then build something new. Don't let this light die. That's how you'll see me again." The pillar pulsed brighter. Warmth filled the air, and then her voice faded. Eli placed his hand on the golden surface one last time. "I'll do it, Luna. I'll make sure no one forgets you." He turned and began climbing back to the surface. The stairway was brighter now, glowing faintly with each of his steps. When Eli reached the top, the morning sun was rising. The air smelled of new grass. The sky was no longer red. It was blue, soft and clear. He looked across the land and saw green spreading where there had been none. The earth was alive again. Eli took a deep breath and whispered, "You're everywhere now, aren't you?" A breeze lifted his hair, warm and playful. He smiled. "Guess that's a yes." He started walking, leaving footprints in the soft earth. The horizon glowed gold ahead, endless and full of promise. He was no longer just the last human. He was the first of the new world, and behind him the wind carried a faint voice, gentle and proud. You're not plain human. You're perfect.